Hello, I'm EG, and this is Crocheting with EG. And in this video, I thought I'd sit here just for a few minutes and finish crocheting these little swatches, because I'd gotten my first clearance yarn haul from Hobby Lobby in weeks, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun. I'm not going to do this every single time, because you know how many skeins of yarn I get, but I thought it would be kind of fun to like swatch up this yarn. There's a couple skeins that I couldn't swatch up, like the fur yarn and that kind of stuff, but I wanted to make little swatches of the yarn just to you know, make my video a little bit different, instead of it just me being like, oh, and then this skein and this skein and this skein. Like in my yarn hauls, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do little swatches in my EG stitch of all the yarns, and then talk about show those, and then talk about those. And then I do have another make. I did finish that basket, you know, for my snake-looking cane covers, and so I mean, it's really nice. And then I did figure out how to decrease down my EG stitch, and so I'm going to be using that to make my chair back, and then just a bunch of other random things. Oh, and then that art piece that I mentioned in my last video. I'll show you like the little prototype, and I'll explain what it's going to be, and then and just some other random things. But the yarn I'm using is Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek, and the color is turquoise. And I had to take the label off because obviously this one was clearance because the label came off or something, and plus it looked a little messed up. And I'll show the pictures, because I actually did take pictures of the cart that was in Hobby Lobby, even though I said I wasn't going to do that, just to make it more fun for myself. But when I went in there looking for the yarn on the shipment day, because I had missed out on, you know, a couple weeks before, I told myself I'm not going to look at the cart anymore, because then I'm going to know what it is I missed out on, and so I didn't want to even look at it. I just wanted it to be like a surprise if the next day they had some yarn, and they're like, oh wow, a surprise, I didn't even know that they had any yarn, just to make it more fun. And so I didn't want to look at it, but I was in there, and then I caught a glance of it, and it just kind of, like from far away, it kind of looked a little disappointing. And so I thought I'll go ahead and look at it, because there were a couple skeins on top that just looked kind of messed up, and this was one of them. See, this is going to be difficult, me crocheting and I'm talking at the same time, because, you know, me having to count. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm like, you know, trying to talk. It's going to mess me up even more than I already am. But this was one of the skeins that looked kind of messed up, and there was another one. I think it was one of those little mini makers or whatever. That one was really messed up, and even after they wrapped it back up, it was really messed up. I had to untangle that. The effort of like trying to untangle that dinky little skein or whatever just to make a swatch, it was kind of stupid. But I did learn a lot, like making up all these swatches, and it sort of surprised me in unexpected ways, like the different yarns, and how some of them I expected to look really nice or expected to be really good, but I was like, oh, I was a little disappointed. And then ones that I just thought, oh, it was going to be a nightmare to work with, it turned out to be really nice. And so I don't know, it was kind of it was a fun experiment to make all these little swatches, and so I just thought, you know, it'd be kind of something different or whatever. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God, this is gonna be such a mess in this video, trying to swatch this up and count at the same time or whatever. This is a really nice yarn to work with, and the color is really pretty. This is turquoise. But anyway, so what it was is I went in there, and it was one of their shipment days, and I walked in there, and they were still in the process of putting the new yarn on the. I had to like lean this up. I need to find my little yarn bulb. It's over there, and stuff I need to put away. But I went in there, and they were in the process of putting a yarn on the shelves and stuff, and so I knew that nothing would be clearanced. And then I went to other places, and then I went back, and of course they were all gone. Like whenever they leave, it's like it looks like the zombie apocalypse, or like the rapture or something. Like you walk in there, there's like nobody, because like when they're putting it on there, there's usually like 3 or 4 people, and there's all these people around in like other sections of the store, and it's like, this is when I should be crocheting. Other sections of the store, and they're like putting stuff on shelves, and then you go in there like maybe an hour later, and then it's just like silence, and then there's like nobody around. It's just weird, you know, like all of a sudden people just disappeared. But I walked in there, and then I saw that cart, and so I went ahead and I took a look at it, and so it just looked a little disappointing. Of course there were some really nice skeins in it, but just the ones that were kind of messed up on the top. It didn't look like it was worth the effort of like even going in early the next morning or whatever, just to not that I would, but like it didn't even look worth like making a big deal about it if I miss out on it again. And so so I did take a picture of those skeins in the cart. And then the next day, I went in there and like I almost drug my feet because I thought, you know, they're probably not going to have the yarn. I'll probably missed out on it again, just like I have the past few weeks. And so I didn't even have like a sense of urgency to go in there. And so to walk in there and to see most of the yarn in there, it was just like a shock. And it kind of brought back the fun of you know, finding the clearance yarn like I used to have. Just like walking in there and not knowing that they were going to have clearance yarn. And so not all of it was in there. There was some cotton that wasn't in there, but you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. But like most of them were in there. I think it's like 18 skeins or whatever. So I finally got some clearance yarn, and it just made the experience of fun again. Just, you know, not expecting it to be in there and then it being in there. And so I got the yarn, and then so when I got it home, I was just thinking, you know, it would be kind of fun to kind of swatch it up, and because there were a couple yarns in here that I wanted to see what it looked like crocheted up, and so I thought I'll do like a little swatch video, and like I said, I'm just not going to do this every single video because it was a lot of effort just to do this, and then working with like the thinner yarns, which I'm not really crazy about, working with those thinner yarns, it was just like this is exactly why I don't work with the thin yarns, just because of how difficult it is to work with. But I did do a couple swatches, and there was even a thin yarn in here that it like surprised me how nice it crocheted up, even though I had to use a 3mm crochet hook with that yarn, which I've never used before. It's like a really tiny hook, and so I was surprised how easy it was to crochet that up, and then it just turned out really nice. What I'm doing is like messing up and hoping that the numbers are right, because I'm trying to count at the same time while I'm, you know, rambling. But what I'm doing, these little swatches are 7 stitches across, and then 5 rows, you know, like, you know, 5 7, so like 5 rows of 7 stitches, and you know, the whole EG57 thing. And so it's just in my EG stitch. So I thought that would be a good way to swatch up this yarn. And so I really should have finished this off camera, just because of my brain. Like, you would think this would be a really easy thing for me to do, you know, talk while I count, just because of how my brain works and how I think of like 2 things at once all the time, and that's why I get so jumbled up when I try to speak. But it's still difficult to like count while I'm talking. Like, as I was saying that, I was going 1 2 3 4 5, you know, at the same exact time. It's weird how my brain can do that. But I'm still going to get all messed up, but hopefully it's going to be all right. Let me see. So that's 3 rows already. See that this my EG stitch does crochet up really quickly and stuff, and it, you know, it's a little airier than like a regular stitch, but it creates this texture and stuff. Of course, if you've seen my videos, you know that. And the tutorial for how to do this stitch is in the description. I've been putting it in the description of all my videos, just in case you want to learn how to do the stitch too. But I'll jump back in, and the first day, like on the shipment day, I went into Hobby Lobby, and of course they were working around there. And like I said, when they're working around in there, and I feel like they're going to clearance yarn later, I'll stay out, because I don't want to go all the way home and then have to go back out again. So I'll go to, like, you know, Goodwill or Ollie's or Michael's or wherever, just to like kind of stay out, so I can pop in Hobby Lobby again before they close, and then I can, you know, check to see if they clearance the yarn. And so I went into Goodwill. God. So I went into Goodwill, and we didn't get anything in there. But the only reason I'm mentioning that is because and I've already posted it in my community tab, and you're probably thinking, yeah, you posted that like a month ago. That's how far ahead I am in filming, or I think it's probably like around a month and a half at this point, because it's in the middle of February as I'm filming this. But when I went into Goodwill, hopefully you understood the picture. But I saw some knitting needles in there, and you know, I had that whole joke that like I buy all this clearance yarn all the time, and I'm going to end up getting stabbed in the neck with a knitting needle from some irate knitter around here, just because of me getting all the clearance yarn and not leaving anybody or leaving some for anybody. I mean, I've left some before, but you know, usually it's the ones that I don't really like. But you know, I go in there, you know, every single day, and so I do look for the clearance yarn, and when I see it, which I've been lucky enough to see many times, I usually buy it. And so if I get stabbed in the neck with a knitting needle in the future, you know, it's not going to be that big of a surprise at this point. And so I have that, you know, running joke in my videos or whatever. And so when I was in Goodwill and I saw those knitting needles, I didn't get them or anything, because I'm not really into knitting. I may get into it in the future, but I saw those knitting needles, and my mom was with me, and so I said, here, take my phone, and I take a picture of me with these knitting needles. Man, I'll put the picture in so you don't have to, you know, look in the community tab, but I'll put the picture in the video. But I thought it'd be funny to like hold them up to my neck, and you look with my eyes all bulged out, you know, like I was scared that, you know, somebody's going to stab me in the neck with a knitting needle, or, you know, like even having them near my neck, it was just kind of, you know, terrifying, just because of, like, you know, I know what my future is going to be. I should make a shirt that says, like, you know, a future knitting needle victim or whatever. I think it'd be funny. But anyway, so I took that picture in there, and the only yarn that they had in there was I don't know what kind of yarn it was. It felt like I took a picture of it, but the box made it look like it was this huge ball. But like if you touched it and you picked it up, it's like this. It felt like this hollow ball or something. It looked like some kind of yarn that, like, even the pictures on it were like teenage girls. It just looked like some kind of thing that, like, oh, my teenage daughter's into crochet and stuff. I'll get her this like ball, and it looks like this giant ball of like eyelash yarn, but it's hollow inside. I mean, it was really cool to see that that big yarn ball in there, but no, I didn't get it because it just looked like way bigger than it probably was. I bet if you took the yarn off of that big hollow ball or whatever, it wouldn't be that much yarn at all. And so I took that. I saw that in Goodwill, and so I took a picture of that while I was in there, you know, taking a picture of my, you know, dumb ass with knitting needles up to my neck. And then I went into Ollie's, and because it's not that far away from my Hobby Lobby, and so I went into Ollie's, and I was like looking to see if they had any more of the Red Heart Super Easy yarn, and they didn't. But I did go into the back where they have the boxes, and I was looking at because when I went over there and they finally had that Red Heart Super Easy, I noticed what the label looks like on the boxes and the general size of the boxes. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is done. So this is a little swatch of this, you know, turquoise or whatever. And so I made that one. And so this is like what the ball looks like. And I'm leaving these attached because I'm probably going to pull these out. Although I should go through these and like pick out one that I haven't done in my EG Stitch, the swatch part of the video, because there's that Rustic Romantic swatch that's like this that I'm going to replace. Because I want to take all those swatches and kind of stitch them together to make a blanket sometime. I need to make some black ones to go in between them. But that Rustic Romantic swatch just wasn't very pretty. So I'm thinking I should take one of these and save it to replace that Rustic Romantic one with, and this one would be really pretty. But I can't remember which ones I did because I did 57 swatches in that video. But but I'm leaving them attached because, you know, I didn't want to like waste the yarn just making these little swatches for no reason. So I'm just leaving them attached, and then I'll pull out the ones that I'm not going to use. But I just wanted to do it for this one video. And then this other one is I love this yarn metallic and the color Aqua Sparkle. So it's just like this aqua color that's has the metallic strand in it. So I'm just like chaining 31 so I can do 7 stitches across. 1, 2, 3. But when I went into Ollie's, I was looking in their boxes in the back because none of the yarn was open or anything. But I was looking in their boxes that were piled up in the back, and I knew that the general size of those Red Heart Super Easy boxes. And when I went over there to look for those skeins at one time, I saw what the label looked like and where to look on the label to see what was in it. And so I went over there and was looking through their box. I wasn't like, you know, moving them or anything, but I was just kind of like standing there like looking at their boxes. And then I noticed that they had a couple extra boxes of the Red Heart Super Easy. They just hadn't opened them yet. And one of them was called Raspberry Blush or something like that. And I looked it up when I got home, and I thought that was a really pretty yarn, and but it just wasn't open yet. And then the other one was called Aran, A-R-A-N, and now I'm trying to spell while I'm counting at the same time. No, but it was called Aran, and when I looked that up, it looks like a cream color. So I didn't have any sense of urgency to like buy that. But like the really vibrant colors, I wanted to get some. And so that Raspberry Blush or whatever it was called looked really pretty. And then when I was looking at those boxes, they even had like the price stickers attached to the outside of the box. Like so when they open it up, they can, you know, take the stickers off and price the yarn. Like I was so tempted to just like do their job for them. I do that in craft stores all the time. I'm going through there and, like, you know, putting yarn back on the shelf where it goes and all that. I thought it's not that big of a leap to go from that to, like, you know, actually pricing things for these people that are just like leaving the boxes sitting there. Of course I wouldn't do that, but I was like thinking the price stickers are here. All I need to just open these boxes and put the price stickers on it. Like if they would have let me do it, I would have done it. Like if I had the confidence to go over to them and say, I know that you're really busy or whatever, but if you want me to price these skeins of yarn for you, I can, because I want to get a couple of them. But I wouldn't have done that. But I am glad that they have some other ones in there, and there's a lot of boxes, so that they could have some other colors. But it's nice to know that they have a really pretty one. That's, I don't know when they're going to open up that box or whatever, but hopefully in the future. And then I went into Michael's, and it looked like they had some new yarn, and I got a little excited seeing that cart full of new yarn. But then I looked, and all it was new yarn. It was brand new yarn that was yarn that they already sell in the store. So it was just like restocking what they already offer. So it wasn't like a bunch of new yarn, like brand new yarns that they've never carried before. So it's just like it was new yarn, just not any that I wanted. It was like that plush yarn that they get that in all the time. I get that like the amigurumi and stuff is the trend and everything, but I just wish they'd get more of the kind of acrylic yarns and the impressions but it was just like a bunch of that plush yarn or whatever. But it was nice to see them like working around in there and getting new yarn, even though it's not yarn that I really wanted. And then when I was over there, I thought maybe I can run into Beals, because it's right next to my Michael's, and I was trying to stay out. This is on the shipment day. I was trying to like stay out and just go into stores and just like look around. And so I hadn't been in Beals for a long time. And what it is, my Michael's store is where a Dick's used to be. And then when Dick's closed, like it was a massive store. And then when they closed, and then I heard that Michael's was coming, I was getting really excited, and my mom was too, because she was really. I mean, I loved Hobby Lobby, but I didn't really want to shop there as much as this is before I knew they had clearance yarn. No, but I didn't really want to shop there, and my mom was really excited that Michael's was coming, because a long time ago where she used to live, they had a Michael's, and it was a huge Michael's, and she just talked about it all the time, like, oh, I wish a Michael's would come here, because it's a really great store. And she used to buy all kinds of craft stuff at her Michael's. When this was back when my sister was a little kid. But when we heard that Michael's was coming here, we were really excited, and we knew that how big that Dick's store was. But it turned out that they were going to be splitting the store in half, and one half would be Michael's, and the other half would be Beals. And so that was kind of disappointing. And so that's why I kind of jokingly say it's like a Micros, because it's like a micro version of Michael's. Because I've seen some Michael's online, in people's videos, and they're how big those stores are. And mine just seems like one of the little micro versions of Michael's. That there's just not a very big selection of yarns, and it's just, I don't know, it just feels like a little mini version of Michael's. Like I've seen some people's Michael's that have those freestanding shelves, like 6 or 8 of them in the middle with all kinds of yarn on it. We have one, and it has the big twist on it. Like that's how how small our yarn section is. We have like the one aisle, and then the half aisle. And it's not like Hobby Lobby where their aisles are really long. These are just kind of like these small, short little aisles. And then they have like a freestanding shelf. They do have the end caps, but they're not even really full of a lot of yarn. And then they have this freestanding shelf that has big twist on it. But that's it. And so, it just sort of feels like a micro version of Michael's. And so when I was walking through Beals, not finding a frickin' thing in there, it was just like a total waste of time. I mean, it really was. I was walking through there, and I just felt like, really, this is what this store is. I mean, I don't know who owns like which store, or like what the whole process was, or like whatever. But it just felt like they split this Dick's store and made one half Beals and one half Michael's, and it just felt like such a waste of time and space. I thought if this Beals store wasn't here, that they could have opened up like a proper, like full-sized Michael's store, and we probably would have gotten all kinds of yarn in there. But it's just kind of stupid that it's just like this sort of half store, it feels like. And then another bad thing is, I mean, it's literally within walking distance of my Hobby Lobby, or well, that's stupid to say. I mean, anything in the continental United States is within walking distance if you have a couple of days. But you know what I'm saying. Within walking distance without, giving yourself blisters and stuff. So it's not that far away from Hobby Lobby, which, sells, the same kind of stuff. And so it was kind of stupid to even put it so close to a Hobby Lobby in the first place. So that's another downside. But it just, I was walking through Beals thinking, like, I cannot believe that this store is one of the reasons why my Michael's is so small. Because my Michael's could be so much better. And wait a minute, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, I already finished it. That didn't take as long as I thought it would. But this is really pretty too. And so I knew this because I've used this yarn before. It's this really pretty metallic yarn, and I just love this little swatch. And I love the texture of my EG stitch, and the metallic strain in this is kind of like that green blue kind of thing, and so it matches it perfectly. So this is called Aqua Sparkle, and so there's that swatch. And so I'll go through these swatches, and then all the other things I'll talk about too. Or no, let me show this basket first. So this is the basket I made, and I used that Red Heart Super Saver, the bitty stripes in the color crayon box, and this turned out so nice. I can't believe how nice it turned out. So this is the basket, and I just love it. This is my new favorite yarn, I think, because I did love the Red Heart Super Easy. I mean, the Red Heart. I have that on the brain, so I'm thinking about Ollie's. So I'm going to go over there today, see if they have any. See if they finally open up that box. But I've said that Red Heart Super Saver colorway called Favorite Stripe is one of my favorite yarns, just because of how vibrant the colors are. And I knew that like I would love this crayon box, but I didn't realize just how much I would love this. It has to be one of my favorite new colorways, if not my favorite. I mean, the colors in this, I can't believe how pretty this is. So this is a little basket, and so it has like the base, which is just like a circle, and then I did the first row here in the back loop only to kind of curve it up, and then I did all these rows all the way around, and then when I got to this point, I used some stitch markers, and then I counted to make sure that the little holes, the hand holes would be the handles, the handles. God, I'm such a hick. No, the handles, or the hand holes, if you're from the South like me. The handles would be the same. Like the holes would be the same number of stitches across. It threw me at saying hand holes. So I put little stitch markers there, and so then when I got to this point, I did a chain, and I chained more stitches than this was, like the gap here, and then I went all the way around and did the same thing on this side, and then when I got to the point where I was going to go on another row, then I did another row, and then I did a row when I got to the chain. I did another row on top of that, and so this is just like one row. It's a double crochet, and I use the triple up method. That's why it's extra sturdy or whatever. But it turned out so nice. I love this this snake basket. And so this is gonna be my little cane cover snake basket thing. And so I'm gonna put my cane covers in it. And so there's this one. No. God, such an idiot. But so they just look like little snakes or whatever. Now, I don't know why this makes me think of a snake. It should be this way. This should be like the little rattler thing, like a but anyway, so it's gonna be my little snake basket. So I'm just going to put my cane covers in there and have them slithering down in there. And then the antique teal one. And so put that one in there. I don't need to show this on camera, but you know what I'm saying. And then my clearance sticker orange one in there. And so there's plenty of room in there for more. And I have some more of this bitty stripes left, and so I'm thinking of making a cane cover with this, because I think that would be really pretty. And like maybe not even in my EG stitch, because the double crochet really shows that. Like I wanted to kind of match this pretty basket, and so I might just do it in like a double crochet. I need to figure out the number of stitches across to make the cane cover or whatever. But I'm just like obsessed with making these ridiculous cane covers. But actually, I love this. Oh, and let me show this. This is the EG stitch, like the decrease down thing. And so like I started, this is the base row, and then I figured out how to decrease. I'll do like a tutorial or whatever in the future of like how to decrease. I need to like make sure that it's gonna work right, and I just decrease down like one on each side, and I'll have to like adjust it, because it's not going to be like a point here with my chair. And so I need to just decrease down as I go, and like maybe do a couple rows where they're just straight, and then like another decrease, and because I need to make it kind of like a curve, like to match my my chair back. But I was just like trying to figure out how to decrease down, and so I did do that. And this is a little swatch. Like I don't know what to do with this, but there's that. And so I'll show the rest of the haul that I got from Hobby Lobby, and then I'll go into the rest of the random stuff that I was talking about. Oh, when I went into Hobby Lobby, like looking around, like just hoping to hear the click of the price gun, them clearancing the yarn or whatever. I was looking in the clearance section, and they had this little keychain thing, and I'm gonna give this to my mom, because she did love to sew and stuff too, not just crochet. And so I just thought this was kind of pretty. It's a little keychain, and it's a sewing machine, and so I thought it was really. This was only 62 cents, regular $3.49, so I got it for 62 cents. So it was like a fun little thing that I didn't expect to find. So I'm gonna give that to my mom. And then when I went in there the next day, and they had the yarn, they had I think it's 18 skeins. You can count it as I do it. But this is the fur yarn. Of course, I didn't do a little swatch of this, because the stitch definition, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. But it's that yarn bee fur the moment, and the color mink is kind of like brown fur yarn. I've shown it in previous hauls. I've gotten this before, so I have a lot of this. So it was regular $6.99, got it for $1.74. So there's that one. Oh, and then there's 2 skeins of this. So I only did the one swatch, but it's the Baby Bee Sweet Delight Pomp in the color Pinkaboo. So I did the swatch, and I used a triple up method because I was trying to do this like there is a yarn that it's the same weight and everything. I tried to do it with like just one strand. This yarn, this Baby Bee Sweet Delight, all of these say that they're a light 3, like light 3 my ass. There's no way this is a light 3. This is like a light 2 maybe, or it feels like a 1. But like this yarn is so thin. I mean, it's really soft and squishy. I know it's baby yarn, but it is so thin, and like even splitty because it's so thin. It is so thin. There is no way that this is a 3. And yet it says to use a 4.5mm crochet hook. Like that yarn that I used, that 3mm crochet hook. Like I'm surprised that this didn't say use a 3mm, just because of how thin this was. Like this kind of pinkish purple, especially. This is the color, or it's Baby Bee Sweet Delight, and the color Plum Pudding. And so, but what Plum Pudding. And all these were regular $5.99. Got them for $1.49. And so. This was so thin, and like a light 3, but there's no way. I mean, like for this one, I only did 1 row. Because like I've said, my EG stitch, it does create a texture, but it depends on the yarn. Like if the yarn is really, really thin, although I'm thinking that maybe if the yarn is really thin and soft, it doesn't create very good stitch definition. But there is that yarn that I use, that 3mm crochet hook, and it created really good stitch definition. It's that anti-pilling yarn, and so maybe it's just like thin, really soft yarn. Maybe thin soft yarn doesn't create good stitch definition anyway in any stitches. I don't know, but it's just so thin and delicate. But there's no way this is a 3. Like look at this. I mean. You could darn socks with this. It's so thin. Like you could put this in like a regular needle. I bet you anything. I mean, there's like embroidery floss or cross stitching thread that is thicker than this that I have. I mean, this feels like a piece of embroidery floss that you pull apart. It's so like incredibly thin. And so I got this far on this skein, and so I just wanted to show you like this is what it looks like with one strand. And yes, it's like pretty and dainty and delicate, but like the stitch definition really sucks, and like trying to work with this, and also another thing with this thin yarn is it like kind of catches on itself, and like this pink, there were 2 skeins. This one looks like, oh, this is a perfect skein. No, I tried to pull the center pull out of this, and it's just like this big clumped up mess. And I just like tucked it back in, and I tried to do it on the other side, and it didn't work. And so I got another skein to do the swatch, and so this one looks like, oh, this is perfect. No, there's a clumped up mess in there. But I thought if I'm going to do the swatches with this thin yarn, I'm going to do it the way that I'm going to use because I do have a lot of this. I had gotten a lot in that 209 skein haul that one time. I do have a lot of this really thin yarn, and it's really nice and soft, and the pretty colors and everything. And I know that you're supposed to use just like one strand, and it's supposed to create like really pretty delicate things for babies or whatever. But what I'm going to do with this yarn, because it's so frustrating to work with, and just how thin it is and everything, I'm going to do that triple up method because it turns out really nice. Yes, it's a lot thicker than this, but it ends up being like this really soft, chunky yarn. And so that's what I'm going to do with all of the yarns that I have like this. And so I'm definitely going to pull this out. But like trying to, like, even when I pulled the center pull out of this pink one, I found that the center pull, and then I pulled out a big clump, and then there was like a center pull, and then as I pulled it, it's like the whole center of it started to pull out. Like it's not like I was pulling it like this. I was just like, I was gently pulling it, and then it just like, it stopped, and then it went like this. I was like, is it caught on something? And I was like pulling it, and it's just like this, you could feel the inside, like just like kind of pulling the whole inside of the skein out. So I'm trying to find the center pull with this is a nightmare. Just because of how thin this is and how it kind of jumbles and twists on itself and stuff. And so when I finally, I pulled the clump out of this other skein, and I found the center pull or whatever, and I did this. And so this is the swatch. See how I was about to say. See how screwed up this skein is, just because of trying to find the center pull on this one. And so I use the triple up method, and this is really gorgeous. I mean, it's so pretty. Yes, it's a chunky yarn. It's a lot thicker. Like this one. Of course, this is a chunky yarn too, I think. No, the Yarn Bee Soft is like, this isn't a chunky yarn. It's just really substantial. But see, like, this is a regular yarn. And so, yeah, see how the swatch is, it's the same number of stitches and same number of rows, but So yeah, when you use a triple up method with this thin yarn, it does make it more of like a chunky yarn, but like a really nice soft chunky yarn. This is gorgeous, and the stitch definition in this is really nice. It's hard to work with this yarn, like even just pulling it out, because it's just so thin and it just gets tangled on itself. It's kind of a nightmare to get it out of the skein, but once you get it out of the skein, and if you use a triple up method, it turns out really nice. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do every time I use that. And so that's that swatch, that Pinkaboo. And then this green one here, I think it's called Baby Sage, because I've gotten this before. Yeah, Baby Bee Sweet Delight and the Baby Sage. So that's $1.49, regular $5.99. So I did the same kind of thing, the triple up method, and this is gorgeous. And so I mean, again, it was just like a pain working with it, but it turns out so nice, and really good stitch definition, and just it's like really soft, chunky yarn. It just ends up so nice. And so that's that swatch. And then this one, this is the Yarn Bee Easygoing in the color Frosting. It does look like cake frosting, that kind of ivory color. This was a regular $4.99, got it for $1.24. And I had said I've gotten some of this before. I don't know if it was this color, but I've gotten this before, and I've said that I don't really know why it's called Easygoing until I worked with it. And the reason why it has to be called Easygoing because of how easy it was to work with. Because this is thinner yarn, although it does say a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and so it's like a medium 4, but it's just like a small skein, but it sort of felt like, it kind of feels like this kind of yarn, but you can tell it's thicker than this yarn, but the feel of it kind of feels like those really thin skeins. But it was so like nice and buttery, like it almost reminded me of that Crafter's Secret acrylic, those big skeins. Like working with this, because it just feels a little thin. It feels like it's on the thin side. It's a medium 4, but it just sort of felt like a thin yarn. But working with it, it was really easygoing. That's a perfect name for that. It was just so nice and smooth and buttery crocheting with this. I just loved it, and it didn't split at all. I thought that it was going to split, because this yarn was kind of splitty too. Like, I'm surprised that there's enough there to even split because of how thin this is. But this wasn't splitty at all. It was so smooth. It just reminded me of that Crafter's Secret so much. So I really do love this yarn. So that's a little swatch of that. It has a really good stitch definition too. And then this one, like this is one I was shocked at. The one that had to use a 3 millimeter crochet hook. It's the Yarn Bee Simply Flawless, and this is a low pill acrylic, I think. Yeah, 100% low pill acrylic. And so it's a really pretty teal color. Yeah, it's just called teal. And so when I looked at the label and I saw that it recommended a 3 millimeter crochet hook, I thought that it felt like it was way too thin. Like, I've never used such a small crochet hook. And so I was like kind of nervous to even crochet with this, because I thought, like, I've never used a really tiny crochet hook. And I thought, I was looking at this yarn, I was thinking, why do I have to use such a tiny crochet hook for this? When this is like a lot more substantial than this Baby Bee Sweet Delight yarn. See how the difference is? I mean, this is so much thinner. This recommends a 4.5 millimeter, and this recommends a 3. But this is so much more thicker than this. Like, I could see this being like maybe a light 4, like a light medium 4. I mean, not even like a light 3, which is what it says. But I thought, it does say to use a 3 millimeter crochet hook, so I thought, I'm going to challenge myself and use a 3 millimeter crochet hook. And it was so much easier than I thought it would be. That was a surprise. And then the stitch definition in this, I could not believe. It's this tiny little swatch. I don't know what to do with it. Like, I almost want to like save this, just because of how adorable this is. It's just so adorable, this cute little swatch. But I cannot believe, look at the stitch definition in this. I mean, this is amazing. It was a little bit splitty just because of how thin this yarn is and how tiny the crochet hook was. But this was way more splitty than this. It was so much easier to work with than I ever would have imagined. And for it to end up like this, it's really nice stitch definition. It blew me away. I really thought that this would be easier to work with, and this was a nightmare to work with, but I figured out a way to work with it and triple it up. And then this, I thought, oh, this is going to be so hard to work with. It's so thin, especially with a 3 millimeter crochet. Like, trying to find a 3 millimeter crochet hook, I thought, do I even have one that small? And I did, but I thought, I cannot believe I'm going to have to use this. I thought, it's not that hard, because the yarn is so nice. And yeah, it was a little splitty just because of that hook and because of how thin it is, but not nearly as much as the other yarns that I've worked with. But it was is so nice. It is just so nice, and I'm so glad that I have some other skeins of these kinds of yarns. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to make with this, with the 3mm crochet. It's going to have to be something really small, because I can't see myself making a blanket out of this, just because it would take so long. That's another thing. I mean, it was easy to use that crochet hook and easy to crochet with this, but I felt like because it was so small, I had to take my time. And you saw how fast I crochet, and that's just like as I'm talking. Like when I'm not talking or whatever, you know, rambling on camera, I can crochet even faster than that, and that's how I like to crochet, like, you know, mindlessly. And so for me to have to take my time, I didn't have to take my time as much as some other yarns that I've worked with in the past. Like that Ice Yarns Picasso Rainbow, I really had to take my time with that, because, you know, I knew if I screwed up, I wouldn't be able to frog it. But this, I had to take my time just because it was so small and just felt a little bit more intricate work. And so I didn't want it to split, and I was shocked at how many times it didn't split. But still, it was a little bit more difficult, but I did have to take my time. But it was so worth it, because this is just gorgeous, and so I just can't believe it. So that just blew me away. So there's that swatch. And then this one, I feel like I did a swatch of this in my EG Stitch video. I just wanted to do it again, because I wanted to do like the swatches for this video, and I wanted to work with this yarn again. I love this yarn. I mean, this is a perfect name for that. Not Comma Damn It, because I do love. So I love this yarn, Comma Damn It print, and it's the color red tweed. It's just like this kind of dark red. It has a little bit of like black flecks in it. I love like the really vibrant colors, and then it has a little bit of a, you know, a blackness or a darkness, or to create some shadow in it. And I love this yarn. And so this is the swatch of this yarn. It's so pretty. I mean, it's like a really vibrant red. Not like a really bright red, but like a really vibrant, deep, dark kind of burgundy-ish red. It's just a really pretty red color. And then have those little black flecks in it, because it gives good stitch definition. And then having those little black flecks in it, you know, brings out the shadows even more. And like I could make a whole blanket with this yarn, because it's just so I do love red, this kind of red. There's a freaking knot right there sticking out. I do love like really vibrant red colors, just because of my obsession with the ruby slippers since I was a child. And so I do love these like really pretty red colors, and it's such a nice yarn. And so I would love to do something. I don't know how many skeins of this I have, but if I had like, you know, 10 or 15 skeins of this, I'd make a throw blanket out of this. Just this is one color, because it's so pretty. So that's the, that swatch. And then they had, I love this yarn in the color Dark Country Blue. So it's like this kind of dark blue. And or it's more of like a dark stone blue. But this is a swatch I made with this yarn. It's coming off kind of like a blue jean blue. So it should be like, you know, dark denim blue, but it is like a really pretty blue color. So there's that one, and then there's one. They didn't put the name of the color on here. I feel like I've gotten this before. It's sort of like a dark blue. It's just like antique dark blue, or I can't remember what this is called. I don't know where the skein is. I'm sure I've gotten this before, but it's like an even darker blue. But it was one that, you know, that the label came off, and they had to, you know, put a piece of paper around it and just write the price on it. And so, you know, $4.99, and got it for $1.24. And so this is the swatch of that one. Just a really deep dark blue. I love this. It's almost like a blackish blue. It's so dark, but it's a really nice swatch of that color. And they have like a really thick yarn. It's one of those that's like Effortless Super Bulky, or whatever it's called. Yeah, Yarn B Effortless Super Bulky, and the color Biscotti. And I think this is that yarn that has that that wool. I mean, not or alpaca. Where is it? Yeah, 76% acrylic and 20% alpaca and 4% rayon. Because like when I was working with it, like the little pieces of the alpaca hair were coming out of it, and like you can see the little pieces of alpaca hair. I mean, it's soft and everything, but like I don't know why the Effortless Super Bulky, even though it's the same specs as the really vibrant colors, even though it's the same specs, this just feels like the ones that are like this, that are kind of like the neutral colors, the cream colors, the grays, all those kind of like that. They feel different than the ones that have all the vibrant colors in them, and yet they're the same exact specs. I cannot imagine using this yarn with that delphinium colorway, because it's so different. Like when you compare this, I mean, of course the delphinium is really pretty. I mean, these vibrant colors. But like when you compare the thickness of this yarn to this yarn, I mean, it's like this is so much thinner than this. This like feels really thick and substantial or whatever. It doesn't, you know, thin out at all when you're working with it. But this, it just feels a lot thinner. I mean, it's a lot more vibrant and everything. But like, it's softer, but it just the weight, you cannot mix the weight of these. I just can't imagine why they think this is the same weight. Just because of how this yarn feels. It just feels so much thinner than this one, and the other colors that are like this. But I did do it, even though this is bulky yarn, I think I had to use an 8mm crochet hook, or 10mm, because this is a 6 super bulky, and so the swatch is ridiculously big. But so I wanted to do like 5 rows and 7 stitches in each row. So I did this like giant swatch, and so like I've said, this surprised me too, because I thought that my stitch looks better in like thicker yarns and stuff. Cause like it really does look nice in this Impressions yarn from Michaels, and like that kind of weight. But like the really thick yarns, like you have to use a 10mm crochet hook, or like the super bulky yarns, it doesn't. I mean, it creates a stitch definition, but it just looks kind of, I don't know. I'm not really crazy about it. And really thin soft yarns, and then like really thick kind of yarns like this. I mean, it looks good in all the ones in between, or like ones like this that are low pill acrylic, even though it's really thin. And like medium 4s and like the bulky 5s and stuff. But like when it starts to get like really thick like this, it just doesn't. Or like even that that cozy occasion cowl thing that I made, that green cowl, like it doesn't really look good in that either, and that's a super bulky yarn too. So I don't know, maybe just like the extra thickness, it just doesn't look very good to me. I mean, it looks perfectly fine, but you know what I'm saying. It just looks better in medium 4s and bulky 5s. But not every stitch looks good in every single kind of yarn, so it depends. But so there's that one. And then there was one of these like yarn beam mini makers in there, and this is the one that was like really messed up, and like even trying to find the center pole in this thing. I mean, I know it was messed up, and they just kind of wrapped it around there or whatever. So I just assumed that all this clumped up mess that was wrapped around it was the outside pole. But then I saw that part of the center pole was pulled out, and so I thought like. I was going through all that clumped up mess thinking, like, where the hell are the ends? I thought there's supposed to be 2 ends in here, and I can't even find one. And then I finally got it all pulled apart, and there was no end. And then I like pulled the end out of the center pole, and I thought, oh, is it the center pole? And then it just like completely pulled out. And then, so I thought, oh, that's the outside pole. But like, why is like so much of it out? I don't know. It's just like cheap yarn. So I did make a swatch out of this, even though this is this feels like cheap yarn. I mean, it's a really good yarn for if you just need like a tiny little bit of a color for something. Like if you're making a granny square and you just need like a tiny bit of green or something, and you don't want to commit to buying a whole skein. But like if you're like me and you're used to buying clearance skeins, these aren't even worth this one was $1.29 regular price, and got it for 32 cents. But like, you know what I'm saying. This kind of yarn wasn't even worth the 99 cents that used to be, but now it's $1.29 regular price. I wouldn't buy it for that. Like, I would rather keep looking for clearance yarn, because I get like a full skein for $1.24. So like imagining buying one of these for like $1.29, or I guess it would be 30% off, because I would never buy it like regular price when it wasn't the 30% off week. But still, 30% off of this is not even a good price for this. It just feels like cheap yarn. It's a convenient yarn for you if you just need a tiny little bit of a color, but still like working with it. And then when I was like trying to pull it apart, another thing about this yarn, it's so cheap, it kind of sticks to itself. Like when I was trying to pull it apart, it's like they were getting kind of like the fibers on the outside was getting kind of stuck to itself, and I had to kind of pull it, and it started to fray. It feels like really cheap yarn. I mean, it is really cheap yarn, but you know what I'm saying. It made a perfectly good swatch or whatever, but still, it feels very cheap. But it's a good option if you just need a tiny little bit of yarn, and you can't, if you're in my town and you never come across clearance yarn because my gluttonous ass has taken it all, or if your store just doesn't really carry clearance yarn like mine does, then I guess this is a good option if you just need a tiny little bit of yarn. But still, it's not a good deal to me, just because I'm so used to getting nice significant skeins for this price, or even cheaper than $1.29. But I only got this for 32 cents, so I thought I'll go ahead and get that. So there's that one, and then 3 more. So this one is that Yarn B Yarn ID and the color Red Brick. Although this feels a little bit more like a brownish, because like Red Brick to me just isn't this kind of brown color. It's more of like Red Brick is more of like a burgundy-ish brown. This is more just like a brown color. But this does create really good stitch definition. I loved working with this yarn. I still don't know what the deal is with this, because this is a regular $6.99, so it's more expensive. So there's obviously something special about this yarn, other than it being like, you know, 100% acrylic or something. This is 80% acrylic and 20% polyamide. It was really nice working with this. It hardly split at all, and it creates really good stitch definition, but it's a really nice yarn. So that's that swatch. And then this one, which I've worked with before. This is really messed up, obviously the reason why it was clearance. So I love this yarn print and the color Flapper Girl. It has you know, blues and pinks and a little bit of a kind of a mustardy green in there and some white. And so this is that swatch. I might have done this in my EG Stitch video, I'm not really sure, but really pretty little swatch of those colors. And then this one, I went ahead and did the swatch of this, even though this is just like a sort of a thin chenille yarn, but I was kind of curious to see. This is why I did the whole video like this, because I don't usually make swatches of like all these yarns that I get at Hobby Lobby, but I thought I was kind of curious to see like what my stitch would look like in this kind of yarn, even though this is more like scrunchy yarn in my head. But it's the Baby Bee Soft and Snuggly in the color Splish Splash, and it's regular $6.49, got it for $1.62. But I was shocked at how nice this was to you know, crochet with in like a regular, because like I just assumed that I would be using all this kind of yarn for really pretty scrunchies and stuff, but it was really nice to work with, and like in my stitch. I mean, this turned out so nice, and it's so nice and soft and buttery, and just the colors in this, all these are pretty kind of icy pastel colors, like purples and blues, but the swatch is just really pretty. I just like, I mean, and it creates good stitch definition too for being like kind of thin plush kind of yarn. I mean, it's really nice how this swatch turned out. So that kind of surprised me too. So that's all the swatches in the haul. But I'll put all these away, and then I'll talk about the rest of the things. But I guess since this video is long enough anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about that art piece that I want to make, and the way I'm going to do it is sort of inspired me to make all kinds of other things with the thing I'm going to put on the piece of canvas. And so I bought some magnets at Hobby Lobby too to do that. But so this is the little I explained in my last video that I wanted to do this kind of creative art piece, and the whole Gladys thing. You should know this, but I wanted to call this art piece I'm Glad It's Yarn. But the way I'm going to say it is I'm Gladys Yarn. And so, because, you know, the whole Friends thing, it's a Friends reference. Because, you know, there's that scene with Phoebe, and she has that picture. You can see it in early seasons, too. Although the outfit in that changed, you know, by the time they actually gave her a name and everything. But that art piece that she has where the woman is coming out of the frame, and you know, her name is Gladys and everything. You should know what I'm talking about if you know anything about Friends. But I just thought it'd be kind of cool to make like a 3D art piece one time. And so when I was walking through Hobby Lobby, and I'm like leaning on it, like, I'm exhausted. Before I sat down to do the video, I actually took the time to, I was replacing the boards on my back porch back there because they were getting kind of ratty and water damaged, and I felt like really macho or whatever, and like, you know, replacing the boards on my back porch stuff. And then I came back to reality when I had to come inside to get my cane to walk down to the mailbox, and I still have my, like, you know, rainbow Picasso rainbow cane cover on my cane. Then I, you know, snapped back to reality. I'm like, oh, I'm not really macho if I'm walking down my mailbox with this, you know, ridiculous rainbow cane cover. But whatever. So I'm just like exhausted. I'm like, you know, leaning on this thing. But no, when I was walking through Hobby Lobby, when they had the Valentine's stuff, you know, 66% off, which is a weird price. They had this thing, and I wouldn't have bought it, but just because of the price. But also because I thought, like, I can make that. But what it looked like is they were hearts, and I think I took a picture of it, and if I did, I'll put it in the video. But they look like little hearts, and it looks like they just took a piece of cardboard that was shaped like a heart, and then used yarn, kind of like the plush yarn, like the Bernat blanket kind of yarn, and like in these pink colors and red, and they just like wrapped it around that heart. And I thought that was kind of like a simple thing to do. And so like, why would you spend, like, I think it was like $6.99 or some like ridiculous price. Of course, like once they get the stuff in, it's always like a discounted price, so you can't really go about like, oh, they're pricing this, piece of art for, $89, because it's always like, oh, well, the art this week and every other week is like, or every week is like 40% off. It's like the prices are intentionally high so that, you can feel like you're getting a deal. You can, like suckers like me can feel like, oh, it's on sale, even though it's always on sale. It's never really on sale. But whatever. And so like the price just seemed really high just for like a little heart that's wrapped with yarn that I could probably do myself. Like I have plenty of yarn that I could do that with. And so I was just sort of thinking about that. And then I was thinking about how it's just kind of wrapped around kind of like a yarn ball. And so I thought maybe I can take a piece of cardboard that's shaped like a circle and then wrap it with yarn and make it look like a yarn ball, where it's not going to be like an actual yarn ball. When I was going to show this in the video, I was going to show like the yarn ball, like before I explained the whole process. I just gave away the ending. But I was going to show this and say like, oh, look, I have a yarn ball. Isn't this really pretty? And I was going to try to fool you with the effect and then go like this and show you that it's not really a yarn ball. It's like it's flat. I had made this, but like from far away, doesn't it look like an actual yarn ball? But it's really thin. So it's just like this is just sort of a prototype. It's not really perfect. I just use like a really thin piece of cardboard. I'm gonna use like a thicker piece of cardboard, and then I'm gonna actually glue it as I go in certain places just to keep this on there, because this isn't really on there permanently. But I just thought this would be a really cool thing to like make the like I have all these ideas to make these little yarn ball things. I want to make some to like hang off my bag, my purse when I'm like walking through Hobby Lobby. I think it'd be kind of cool to like make those like in little keychains, because I already have those keychain, there's a hook, crochet hook keychain things hanging off my bag. So I'm like jingling in the store like a freaking idiot. And so it'd be kind of cool to like make a bunch of little yarn balls to like hang off my purse to make myself look even more ridiculous, or like make some that I can hang up in here, or like on my shelf, or like on my Christmas tree, make ornaments. And then I was thinking about it would be kind of cool to make these into magnets, like make a whole bunch of ones like this and in different colors, because I do have some little scrap balls. I could just take some yarn from that. It's a perfect use up for like little scrap balls to make these cute little yarn ball things that are flat. And so I thought like I could make little magnets for my refrigerator, and my niece is just gonna love this crap, all this crocheted stuff all over this house. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to make like magnets. And so I went into Hobby Lobby, and they did have some magnets, and these are really heavy, but they had these packs of magnets. These are just round ceramic magnets. It's a 50 pack. And so these magnets that are this size. And so there's those. So I thought I could make a whole bunch of like magnets. And I'll probably make some for my refrigerator. And then if I ever sell my crochet and stuff in the future, get my website all set up and everything, I might make some to like sell too, because I think it'd be kind of cool. But this was $3.99 for this pack. And then they had this strip, like flexible adhesive magnet strip. And so it's just like this roll of magnets, so that you can kind of cut it in your own shape. Because I thought I could take a couple balls and put them together and like make a sort of a longer magnet too. So that's why I got that strip of magnet too. But the main project is going to be this big canvas thing. So I got a big round one because I thought like a yarn ball. And I was thinking, I hope in my last video you didn't think that I was going to make like an actual person coming out of it with like yarn balls and stuff, because I said Gladys and I made you think of friends. And I'm going to put like all kinds of yarn balls on here. Like I thought all different sizes, like like some big ones and like little ones, and do it in that same kind of way. And I even like left a little piece of yarn hanging like that, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to do that. And so like all these yarn balls on here, and like I'll go off the edges too, and I'll just have like really big ones and small ones, and maybe take a chain of crochet and like write something on it, or I don't know, maybe attach some crochet hooks to it, or I'm gonna make like a really ridiculously creative, beautiful art piece in here with all these yarn balls on it. It's gonna be 3D. And so I was thinking I could put it on this wall, like the reverse wall, because like I have this 3D picture here, this that poster I got at Goodwill with the cats and the yarn and the basket. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to like put one opposite it on this wall, and then have like a 3D picture there, only it's gonna be one that I created with all these like cute little yarn balls on it. It's gonna look all 3D and stuff. So but anyway, the whole idea is just gonna create all kinds of things that I'm gonna be making and decorating my ridiculous house with. But anyway, so that's gonna be the end of this video, because I think I've talked enough in this video. But that's gonna be this can be something in the future. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. And then I just did all these rows